Hello, Jeff. Hello, Madden. Hello, Audra. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday. Hello, Sean. Hope everybody's warm today. I haven't been out walking in so long. I had to get out today. So, what's the temperature where everybody is? Sean says it's 38 where he is, which is odd for Texas. Usually they're running about the same as here. Yeah, we usually run about the same temperature as Texas, but you're in the 30s and we're the 60s here. It's funny how that is. Hello to Aries World. 4 degrees, -5 earlier. That's crazy. The coldest I ever remember it being here is 1 degree. So I ain't never experienced a negative. I haven't been out walking in a while, and it seems like littering has got a lot more active since I've last been walking. Used to be something a little bit here or there. Now, man, people's dumping out their whole automobiles. 18 in Colorado. Yeah, I'm not one that talks about pet peeves a lot, but littering is definitely one of my least favorite things. Hello to traveling Whitcombs. Happy Saturday. I'm gonna yeah, always feel free to shout out your state, and you can talk about what temperature it is, since that's a common subject these last few days. I mean, people, it seems like people are always talking about the weather, but especially like the last few days, since it's affected so much of our country. But today is I'm going to talk about a little bit about warmth and cold, since that is a common denominator subject. And I got one verse for today as I'm walking. And today's the 24th. Happy January the 24th, 2026 edition. So my key verse for today comes from the 24th chapter of Matthew. Matthew chapter 24, verse 12. Hello to Matthew Pitsley. Matthew 24:12 says, "And because iniquity shall abound, The love of many shall wax cold. So Jesus talked about the end times, and he talked about iniquity is going to get worse, or sin's going to get more popular. And because sin will get more popular, love will decrease. So as sin goes up, love goes down. It don't say the love of all, but it does say the love of many, which that means, a majority. But, I mean, sometimes it's good to be in the majority, but not always, for sure. -4 in western Wisconsin. Wow. Oh yeah, I don't think I've ever read about Wisconsin from my book. Might have to do that. Let's see. Haven't read from the old United States of America book lately, so let's see what it says about Wisconsin. Wisconsin's capital is Madison. It became the 30th state, May the 29th, 1848. State rock is the red granite. The state animal is the badger. The state bird is the robin. Hello to Chew. Happy Saturday. The state flower is the wood violet. State tree is the sugar maple. State grain is corn. There's some of the cities in Wisconsin. Bloomer, Wisconsin. I'm not familiar with Bloomer, Wisconsin. I've heard of Green Bay and Madison and Milwaukee, but not familiar with Bloomer, Wisconsin. So I just learned something by looking at this. So thank you to Traveling Whitcombs for mentioning Wisconsin. Shout out to Traveling Whitcombs, who is cold in Wisconsin, or at least the temperature is. -4 in western Wisconsin. So if you're in western Wisconsin, are you anywhere near Bloomer, which is in western Wisconsin? But let's see. Hello to Star. Happy Saturday. Wisconsin is called America's Dairyland because it is a top producer of milk, cheese, and butter. Yeah, sometimes like Packers fans call them the cheeseheads. In fact, as it goes on to say, some Wisconsin residents wear funny hats that look like cheese and call themselves cheeseheads. People from all over the country visit the famous Wisconsin Dells. Tall, handsome. Let me slow down in my reading. I'm getting carried away. Tall sandstone, not handsome. Tall sandstone cliffs and unique rock formations on the Wisconsin River formed by melting glaciers. Milwaukee is home to Harley Davidson, the most famous motorcycle company in the world. Harley motorcycles are nicknamed Hogs. So there you have it. Shout out to Traveling Whitcombs in Wisconsin. But I've never heard of Bloomer, Wisconsin. I've heard of Bloomington. I think that's in Illinois, but Bloomer is new to me. Cheese curds are good, Sean. I was reading birthdays earlier. Let's see. I was reading about birthdays earlier, and 3 of them that popped out to me were all singers who celebrate birthdays today. Happy birthday to Ray Stevens. I love, comedy. He's got a lot of comedy songs, but he also has some serious songs that I really like. Everything is Beautiful. I love that song. Everything is Beautiful in its own way. It's a Ray Stevens song. But I like the humorous ones too. The day the squirrel went berserk. As I'm looking at a squirrel climbing the tree, I'm talking about the squirrel that went berserk in the first self-righteous church in the town of Pascagoula. Hello to Steph. I appreciate you stopping by. Happy Saturday. So today is Ray Stevens' birthday. I don't forgot how old I seen that he was. It was 80 something. Today is also Aaron Neville's birthday. Like his music, he's got a certain sound I like. I got a CD of his somewhere I have to break out, listen to. But he sings Amazing Grace on it really good, among other things. But I love that song he used to sing with Linda Ronstadt. Look at these eyes. I know the years are showing. I don't know much, but I know I love you. And that may be all I need to know. I know I can't sing like Aaron Neville, but it's the thought that counts. Hello to Adam's Car Closet. Happy Saturday. So we got Aaron Neville's birthday today, Ray Stevens' birthday today, and Neil Diamond's birthday is today. All three good singers share the same birthday, January the 24th. And my key verse today is Matthew 24 on this 24th day. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. All right, so as sin gets more popular, love will get less popular, and there'll be less love in this world. But encouragement for today is, as we're all talking about the temperature, how cold it is. What do we do when it's cold? We do something about it, right? You're not going to freeze to death. You're going to do something to keep yourself from freezing to death. You make, as y'all are talking about different things, you do things to prevent yourself, your automobile, your home from freezing, your pipes. And we want to do things to keep ourselves from waxing cold, from becoming cold. Even though the world may be becoming more and more cold, it shouldn't stop us. Matter of fact, the next verse, I didn't write it down, but it says, the same that shall endure to the end shall be saved. Just a reminder to me to keep on doing the things that God talks about. The world may get, show less and less love, but that's not, I'm not to act like the world. I'm to act like the Word, of God, and we're supposed to be growing in love. So we don't want our love to wax cold. Is my thought for today, but instead warm. Today is January 24th, 2026. Today is National Peanut Butter Day. How many of y'all like peanut butter? Got any peanut butter fans out there? Let me know if you like peanut butter. And if so, do you just like it by itself? Or is there something that you like it to go with, Does it complement something else? Second oldest indoor single tennis court. Audra's singing Sweet Caroline. I've been singing that all day. It's stuck in my head, so you just made it stick even more, Audra. Hands, touching hands, reaching out, reaching you, reaching me, reaching everybody. Hey! Sweet Caroline. I'm in Alabama, though. Sweet Alabama, bum, bum, bum. Good times never felt so good. So good, so good. Bear loves peanut butter. Sonal is passing by. You don't have to pass by Sonal. Pull up a chair, man. No, there's no forcing to stay here, but I appreciate you stopping by, Sonal. And I hope you have a great Saturday. Hope you stay warm. My prayers, like I said, I'm in 60-degree weather, and I ain't rubbing it in. It's strange to me how it can be 60 in one part of the country and negative in another. But that's the way it is. But my prayers are for warmth for you, physical warmth, of course. Hope everybody stays warm, but my prayer is also for our hearts, that we have a warm heart, which is even more important than our hello to Rudy, who put 316. I like 316. There's a lot of good 316 Bible verses I like, especially John 3:16. But I hope you're doing well, Rudy. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to Danielle Davis. Today is National Peanut Butter Day. All right, so here's the thing. All right, if you do like peanut butter, do you like crunchy or creamy, or both? Which is it? And which one do you prefer? I like them both, but I prefer creamy. But I have to say, I'm not like a huge peanut butter fan. I'll eat peanut butter crackers. I'll eat peanut butter sandwiches. I'll eat peanut butter by itself. But you know, it's the breath thing. You know, that's the drawback for me is, you know, having peanut butter breath is, you know, no fun. That's one of the things I don't like about it. But here's the thing I do like about it. I don't even know what jovial means. I'm in Alabama. But I guess that's a good word. I've heard it before. I can't remember what it means, but I know what javelin means. I can throw a javelin, but jovial, what does jovial mean? Creamy is better. Yeah, I'm more of a creamy. But what I lost my train of thought. Jovial threw me off there. All right, so I'm not like a huge. I mean, I like peanut butter. I'm just not a huge peanut butter fan. You know, some people like it more than others. Of course, some people don't like it. But what I really like about peanut butter, this is my favorite, absolute favorite thing. Man, I'm on speed talk today, and I can't get my words out right. All right. My favorite thing about. Let's slow down a little bit. My favorite thing about peanut butter is when jovial means cheerful and friendly. I love it. If any of y'all have ever sent me a email, and my email is Hilaros, the first part of my email, and it tagged with that is 23, my favorite number, but Hilaros is Greek for cheerful. So to say that I'm jovial, it brings me cheer. So thank you for that compliment, because that's what I'm going to be talking about, complimenting people. And here's the thing, what I was going on to say about the thing I do like about peanut butter. Peanut butter to me complements chocolate so much. You see, I'm not a big peanut butter fan. I'm not a big chocolate fan. But when those two complement each other, oh, that, you know, Reese's Cups, Reese's Pieces, y'all know what I'm talking about. When those two mesh, hello to the Bud Files, happy Saturday. When peanut butter and chocolate mesh, when they combine, when they complement each other, that's heavenly, man. And so today, that leads into my next thing. So today is not only National Peanut Butter Day, today is also National Compliment Day. So I said, you know, how peanut butter complements chocolate, and they go great together. Well, guess what? You and I were made to complement each other. So today is National Compliment Day. So I want to encourage you to compliment people today. And I'm not talking about flattery. When you compliment somebody, you say it for their good. And it's good for you too. But when somebody flatters somebody, the intention of flattery is to somebody will say something back to you to make you feel better about yourself. So it's really selfish. Flattery is selfishness. You know, and I'm not a judge. I don't know the motives of hearts, but I'm just saying, like, if you say you're pretty to somebody, and you want your intention of saying that to somebody is for them to say, "You're pretty too," or "You're handsome." Oh, you was wanting them to say, "Well, you're handsome." You was wanting something back out of it. That's flattery. That's, you know, selfishness. It's flattery is selfishness and a lot of other things, but I'm talking about complimenting people, acknowledging something that you like about them that's good, that needs to be brought out. And I think about how the chocolate brings out the peanut butter and the peanut butter brings out the chocolate. And when those two mesh, merge, whatever you want to call it, collide, it's a great thing. And we're supposed to compliment each other. So that's my thought for today on this National Compliment Day is we need to compliment each other. And I'm not just talking about me and you. I'm talking about anybody. If you go to the store, compliment the person that's at the store, you know. Today the squirrel went berserk. See, I'm a simple man, so I get to talking and don't do the best at reading all the chat, but it's not intentional neglect. But but the squirrel went berserk where Danielle is. And see, Sean said, Jeff, you are a great dad to Cal. That's a compliment. You know, that's a compliment. And man, you know what can get contagious? I'm talking about the key verse for today. As sin gets more popular, love will get less popular. So sin will be contagious and love will be less contagious at some point down the road, you know, in the end times. But, you know, and generally when we think of contagious, we think of bad things, you know, and there is a lot of bad contagious things. You know, that we know there's a lot of people battling sicknesses right now. But there's also good contagiousnesses, and get to complimenting people and hopefully start a contagious compliment thing. Same way with addiction. There's bad addictions, of course, but there is good addiction. There's a verse in the book of Acts that Paul mentions a family, and what he said about this certain family, he said they were addicted to the ministry. Addicted to the ministry. They were addicted to helping people out. Man, you're talking about a good addiction. Yeah, and I agree with that. I'm blessed to have met all of y'all too, and that's a compliment. You know, and I'm going to be talking about complimenting, among other things. But when Jesus says that the love of many will wax cold, that's money in the bank. It's going to happen, but it don't have to happen in your life. It don't have to happen in my life, and it don't have to happen during this season, because you can be contagious with it. And the world could use some more compliments and love. And as I'm thinking about cold days coming up, or you're already in cold days, but we don't want to have cold days when it comes to our heart. We want to be warm like the sun. Y'all know how the sun makes you feel, especially on days like today, cold days. You know, you can be a son to somebody today, and I ain't talking about an S-O-N, I'm talking about S-U-N. You can bring warmth and light to somebody's life today. I'm fixing to get to a stopping point where I can read a little bit more. Here's the weird thing, all right, it's in the 60s right now. Our overnight low for here is in the 60s. It's like staying in the 60s all day, and even in the morning it's going to be in the 60s. But then tomorrow, like noonish, the wind's going to start blowing. It's going to start raining, and the temperature, get this, the temperature's going to drop. The high is going to be 74 tomorrow, right around noon, between noon and 2. Temperature here is going to be like 74 for the high tomorrow. But then once the wind and the rain kicks in, the low, like the low for Monday morning is 24. So like you're going from 74 to 24 in just a quick period of time. 50-degree drop. That's wild. But I want to talk a little bit about let's see. Got me to a stopping point. Just to review today's verse, Matthew 24:12, on this 24th day of January, all and because iniquity shall abound, that means increase, sin will increase, the love of many shall wax cold. Today's January 24, 2026. Today is National Peanut Butter Day. Today is National Compliment Day. And I wrote down like two quotes that I love writing down quotes that I like. Here's Mark Twain. I love some Mark Twain. I love some Mark Twain writings, books that he wrote. I love some Mark Twain. My brain just went blank. Quotes. And my favorite Mark Twain. I'm having problems speaking today. All right, my favorite Mark Twain quote is, "Forgiveness is the fragrance that the flower left on the heel of the one who crushed it." I love that quote by Mark Twain. Forgiveness is the fragrance that the flower left on the heel of the one who crushed it. And here's another one I like, and it's about complimenting on this National Compliment Day. Hey, if y'all want to make a short video and put hashtag National Compliment Day in it, that would be cool. And that's another way to encourage complimenting people. Get a short video. It don't take much of an effort. But Mark Twain said, "I can live for 2 months on a good compliment." Have you ever done that? Have you ever fed off of a good compliment? Somebody gave you a good compliment and like it affected you not only that day, but it affected you beyond that day. So one of the things that came to my mind is, all right, y'all know I've experienced loss within the last 14 months. I've lost two of the closest people to me, my dad and my brother. But I was thinking about another person that passed away before them that was really close to me, was my grandma. And this was back in, let's see, it's been like 15 years ago. It was Mother's Day. So it was in May, early May. Mother's Day I think is the second Saturday in May. So it was Mother's Day. I drove my grandma to church. And at the conclusion, we was getting back in the car to drive her back home. It was Mother's Day, so I said something like, I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was something to this effect. I said, "Happy Mother's Day, even though you're not my mother." Because she was my grandma. They have Grandparents' Day in September, but still you honor all mothers. So even though she wasn't my mom, still honored her. But I said, "Happy Mother's Day, even though you're not my mom." Or, no, I said, "Happy Mother's Day, even though you're not my son." I mean, I can't talk today. Happy Mother's Day, even though I'm not your son. Something to that effect. And she said, "But you're like my son." And that to me was like very complimentary. And like I said, that was like 15 years ago. It was Mother's Day. My grandma passed away the next month. She passed away in June of that year, same year that she made that statement. But here it is 15 years later, and it still makes me feel good remembering, just thinking about her saying that. That's the power of a compliment. Y'all get what I'm saying? Compliments are powerful. And that's just one of, I can mention a lot of them. Make it your goal to compliment a certain amount of people, at least a minimum a certain amount of people each day, because the world needs compliments in a cold world. And I ain't talking about temperature-wise. I'm talking about love-wise. Compliments. One of my favorite presidents. He probably is my favorite president of all time. Although he was before my time, of course. But I just like a lot of his quotes. I like a lot of things I've read about him. Is Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln said, "Everybody likes a compliment." How many of you agree with that? Abraham Lincoln said, everybody, it don't matter who you are, everybody likes a compliment. Do you like a compliment? Yeah, I like a compliment. I love a compliment. Okay, Adam, I appreciate you stopping by. I hope you have a great, chipper, blessed Saturday. Stay warm, stay safe. But Abraham Lincoln says everybody likes a compliment. Let's see, as far, yeah, my grandma that passed 15 years ago, she was the last of my living grandparents. And my dad's mom passed away when I was a toddler. And so I didn't really know her. And my dad's dad and my mom's dad, so both of my, my grandfathers, my paternal and my maternal grandfather, they died on the same day, which was really odd. Um, my dad's dad and my mom's dad died on the same day when I was in high school, and that was tough. So that was three out of the four that passed away until my grandma passed away 15 years ago. All right, so here's what I was getting to, and especially, Todd just dropped in. Todd likes to say this verse: "Do to others whatever you would like them to do to you." That's Matthew chapter 7, verse 12. We call it the golden rule. Do it to others as you would have them do it to you. Treat people like you like to be treated. All right, so feeding off of what Abraham Lincoln said, so I'm going to combine what Jesus said with what Abraham Lincoln said. Jesus says, treat people like you like to be treated. Abraham Lincoln says, everybody likes a compliment. On this National Compliment Day, Abraham Lincoln said, everybody likes a compliment. And I think that's true. I can only speak for me. I know I like a compliment. So if I like a compliment, I ought to like giving compliments because I love to receive them. So treat people like you like to be treated. So I should like to give them out as well. It ought to be just like a cycle. And you can't control whether people compliment you or not. I mean, Jesus lived the best life ever, the most the only perfect life ever, and he didn't get a lot of compliments. So you can't. Your life don't really determine whether you get compliments or not. So you can't control whether people compliment you or not. But you can control whether you compliment people or not. And I can too. And that's something we ought to be doing more of. As this world gets colder and colder, and I ain't talking about, like I said, physical, although it is. I'm talking about spiritual. Cold to the things of God, loving God, loving each other. But it's our job to keep those things warm. That was what was on my heart today. Matthew 24:12. Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. It don't have to on your part. It don't have to on my part. I mentioned something that my grandma said that stuck with me for a long time. But something that stuck with me even longer than that is something I read in a book, and I wrote it down. And I just rewrote it down. Shout out to Jeff who gave me this notebook. So I'd like to compliment Jeff on his kindness for giving me a notebook that I wrote, some of these things down in. All right, so a long time ago, I read this in a book. I want to say it was, in speaking of this guy, Todd is here. So this guy, I believe, was in Texas, in Dallas. His name was Charles Swindoll. He may still be there. He was a Baptist preacher. But he's wrote a lot of books that I've read that I like. But in that one of the books that I read, I appreciate the compliment, Todd. And definitely, hey, I'm not talking about compliments to get compliments, but I appreciate your compliment. But in one of the books that I read of Charles Swindoll, is he gave out the 10 commandments of human relations. And he had referenced a preacher named Robert G. Lee, not Robert E. Lee, but Robert G. Lee, who I think was a pastor in Tennessee. But anyhow, I like what it says here. Yeah, what we want to be is humble for sure. And I'm going to talk about that too, being humble. But he gave the 10 commandments of human relations. As I'm thinking about complimenting each other. Number one, speak to people. Speak to people. Which is something easy to do, right? It's one of the easiest things you can do. Just, you don't have to make long conversation or give paragraphs, or you don't have to tell your whole life story to everybody. But just a simple hello would probably go a very far way in a lot of people's lives. Speak to people. And if you ever come in my live stream and I fail to acknowledge you, this is like my announcement to everybody. I'm sorry, because it's not intentional. And it can be hard, during live streams. It can be when you're trying to talk about things and focusing on what you're talking about. It's not that what I'm trying to say is I don't intentionally like ignore what y'all saying. Just I can't do both. I'm a simple dude. So if I got something on my mind and I go to talking to you, then I forget what I was talking about. So it's like a challenge for me. But my heart's desire is to always speak to you, acknowledge you, and appreciate you for being here. That you spend a little bit of time with me today, because it means a lot. Hello to Bisay. Happy Saturday. So number one of the 10 commandments of human relations is speak to people. And I ain't talking about just in live streams. I'm just talking about in life in general. That person that you walk by on the street. And sometimes I get that whenever I'm watching live streams of people. I see that just a random stranger walks by you and you just say hello. That is awesome. That's the way it should be. You don't have to know the person to say hello. And get this. Remember what I said about treating people like you like to be treated? Sometimes when you say hello to somebody, guess what the result will be? Nothing. Have y'all ever experienced that? You say hello and the person just keeps going. And who knows, maybe they are hard of hearing, maybe they didn't hear you. I can't judge, but I know how it makes me feel whenever I say hello to somebody and you get no feedback, no return. I know how that feels, so I don't want to be that person. Speak to people. You know what happens when you don't speak to people? It has the potential for that person to feel invisible. And we weren't made invisible. We were made visible for a reason, and part of that reason is to be acknowledged that, hey, hello, you're a person just like I am. We got some things in common. We can talk about it, or we don't have to talk about it. We can just at least say hello, and I've acknowledged that you're on this earth just like I am, and we're in this thing together, this thing of life. Don't get me off on songs, Jeff. I could see it in your eyes. All right. Number two. How about this one? Since you got a song, I'll give a song. Lady, I'm your knight in shining armor, and I love you. Okay, I'm getting delirious. Let me get back to it here. Um, Hello to Nicholas Woodall. All right, so here's another one. Not only speak to people, but smile at people. Not only speak at people. Number two on the 10 Commandments of human relations, smile at people. What what usually happens, and once again, not always, it's just like speaking to somebody, you don't always get speak back. But what usually happens, or really should happen when you smile at somebody, or what should happen when somebody smiles at you. Now I'm back to what I was talking about with good contagiousness. Good contagiousness. Have you ever smiled at somebody and they smile back at you? Has somebody ever smiled at you and you smile back at them? How did that make you feel? How did that make you feel? You know it made you feel good. So if you know it made you feel good, think about how it made that person. So be that to somebody. When you see somebody without a smile, give them yours. Because believe me, there's a lot of people out there without a smile. Hello to Norma. We're just talking about the 10 Commandments of human relations. Today is National Compliment Day. So I've been talking about complimenting people. The world could use more of that. How to make this world a warmer place as we're thinking about coldness. You know, how can we make the world a warmer place? We can warm it up by complimenting each other, speaking to each other, smiling at each other. And number three, call them by their name. Learn their name. And I have to admit, I'm not good on names, but I try. I'm more of a face person. If I've seen your face, it sticks. It's like, but your name kind of takes longer to stick. And I'm talking about outside of YouTube, but in YouTube, that can be a challenge too because you got names, double names really, because you got most of the people not only they have a name, but their YouTube channel has a different name. So trying to tie the two together can be a challenge as well. Yeah, sometimes people would. Sometimes maybe that person's been hurt by somebody said something and then they got burned by it, because the motives wasn't right. But you can't control that. Um, because like I said, I've already talked about flattery. Sometimes people will say something to get something, and there are people like that. They'll bring out something about you just to hear something about them. That it gets back to pride. But call people by name. All right, we all have names. Get to know somebody, learn their name, and then call them by their name. Because think about it. What do you rather be called? Would you rather be called you? Hey you, hey you. And I get that for a while when you don't know the person's name, you might say hey you. But once you learn their name, it's no longer hey you. It's hey Todd or hey Jeff or hey uh, Nicholas or Sean or fill in the blank there. But when somebody is, to me, names are special. You know, it names have a history. You know, and and I just think about your mom and your dad. Most of us were probably named by our mom and dad. I know not everybody. I think my mom said she was named by her nurse or doctor or something to that effect. But most people are named by their parents. But you think about this: your mom or your dad took the time to think of something that would fit you. So to me, it's special. So when somebody says your name, I don't know, it's special when somebody says your name. And I mean, I guess that could be a pride thing, but I don't see it as a pride thing. I just see it as a, I don't know. Practice makes progress, Jeff. So over time, which you probably get called Calvin more than you get called Jeff. Anyhow, you ought to be immune to that. Yeah, there's controversy about my name. Um, my my mom says she got my name out of a baby book, and my dad, I love, y'all know me, I love music because of my dad, but I also love parody songs because of my dad. Why do I like Weird Al and people that make up funny songs? Because my dad liked that kind of stuff. And one of the like parody before Weird Al, there was this guy named Alan Sherman, and he done like parody songs. He done like "Hello Mother," "Hello Father." I don't know if I've ever heard of that. This is way back, Alan Sherman, before my time, but I heard him through my dad. But Alan Sherman done a parody song about, it was the name was Mary, but instead of Mary, the song said we'll call him Barry. So it was a song with the name Barry in it. That's the baby's name, is what it says in the song. So my dad says he got it from an Alan Sherman song. My mom says she got it from a baby book. So we always had fun with that, talking about how I got my name. Um, yeah, I think Troy is live streaming in like 10 minutes. Yeah, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. La 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 la. All right, so I'm gonna try to get off within the next 10 minutes. Troy is fixing to be on Adventure America. Y'all go check him out. I don't think I said hello to Troy. Hello to Troy. I'm talking about acknowledging people, and I forgot to acknowledge Troy. But happy Saturday, Troy. So we want to speak to people. We want to smile at people. We want to call people by name. Number 4, be friendly and helpful. Be friendly. It don't matter if the person's mean to you or not. That's not, you can't control that. What you can control is what your response to the person. That don't mean you approve of what they do to you if they mistreat you. That just shows that, hey, this is the right thing to do. And hopefully they'll make adjustments because they've seen how you responded. So you can't control how people treat you, but you can control how you treat them. So be friendly, be helpful. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help one another. Um, I done bent the paper now, Jeff. All right, so be friendly and be helpful. It don't matter who the person is. It may be the sweetest person you know, be friendly and be helpful to them. Or it may be the meanest person you know, be friendly and be helpful to them. And hopefully in time, they'll be friendly and helpful to you. Number 5, all right, when I think of the word cordial, I think of the chocolate covered cherries. All right, and my dad, I talked about the tradition that my dad had of like getting me and my brother and himself a box of baseball cards every year. So I missed that this year. And I missed getting him, I had a tradition of giving him fruitcake for Christmas. And I missed giving him fruitcake this year. But my dad used to not only give us baseball cards, it was a yearly thing, a box of baseball cards, me and my brother and him for Christmas, but he also would give us a box of chocolate covered cherries. So when I think of cordial, I think of chocolate covered cherries. But cordial, as I'm thinking about warmth, a lot of y'all are in cold temperatures. Cordial to me just means warm, being warm to somebody. Cordial to me is, have you ever, like, all right, good customer service in a lot of locations, businesses has gone out the window. It's no more. Y'all know what I'm saying. There's not a lot of good customer service out there. That used to be like the main thing of a store that you went to. They focus in on good customer service. In other words, when you went in that store, you knew that that person was there to help you, and they were there, to do all they can to help you. They were there to make your day better, easier, fill in the blank. Good customer service. I mean, but now there's not a lot of that. But there are people, I think, that stand out in different locations that still perform good customer service. But cordial, being warm to people, speak and act as if everything you do is a genuine pleasure. So sometimes you get that. Sometimes people say my pleasure, and I think they really sincerely mean it. And I can't judge hearts, but to me it feels like they genuinely, sincerely mean it when they say my pleasure. And then sometimes it seems like they've been programmed to say that. In other words, they're like a robot and they're just saying my pleasure because that's part of their job task. You see what I'm saying? It's coming from a handbook instead of coming from the heart. And we want to come from the heart, and being cordial comes from the heart, and it's doing things that warm other people up. Customers gave me the nickname Smiley. I love that, Daniel. I love that. As we're talking about complimenting, I think that's a great compliment that the customers gave you. I can't think of, some nicknames are very rude and mean, but when somebody calls you Smiley, that's like super complimentary. So kudos to your customers. Well, that's cool, Jeff. All right, number 6. Be genuinely interested in people. Number 6 of the 10 Commandments of human relations. Be interested in people. See, I already talked about, or kind of what Todd was talking about. Like sometimes people will say something to get something in return. So they're not so much interested in you, they're interested in what they can get out of you. And that's what I was talking about, flattery. They're not interested in you, they're interested in what they can get out of you. They say something nice about you to get something nice said about them, to boost them up, for you to brag about them. So, it may be interesting that somebody has a sports car or, a awesome comic book collection. But even more so than being interested in their comics or whatever they collect, or their hobbies or whatever, be interested in that person. Our shower curtain. Um, be interested, be genuinely interested in people. Number 7, be considerate with the feelings of others. Be considerate of the feelings. Have you ever said something without really thinking about it too much? You just said it, and then you realize that they could take it a different way, and it possibly could hurt their feelings, even though you didn't intend it a certain way, but you wasn't considerate of your words before you said them, and then and we got to. That's the importance of like not being quick to speak, because everybody has feelings. We all have feelings. Sometimes people say their feelings don't get hurt, but I don't think they're being honest. Because I really, I believe if we're all honest, we all get our feelings hurt from time to time. And sometimes we can control that by thinking about what we say before we say it. To be slow with our words. So be considerate with the feelings of others. Number 9, be alert. When I go walking, that's one of my public service announcements is be aware of your surroundings. You know, when I'm walking, I don't want to get ran over, so I'm looking around to see if cars are coming, you know. So I'm being aware of my surroundings. I'm alerted to my surroundings. But when it comes to human relations, we want to be alert to the people around us. We want to see if somebody needs a helping hand. You can be blind to those things if you're not careful. Read about the story of the Good Samaritan. There was two religious people that were blind to the need of a person that was basically almost dead. But one person was alert to give service. So God help us to look around and be looking for needs. Earlier I talked about it's in the book of Romans, and Paul talks about a family that was addicted to the ministry. And when we think about addictions, generally we think about bad. You know, most addictions are bad, but there are good addictions. And this family that Paul talks about, he says they were addicted to the ministry. Ministry just means helping people out. So God help us to be addicted to the ministry. In other words, be alert to give service to people, help people out. How can I help you today? Hello to Daisy May. And you see, y'all are spread out across this country. Y'all are spread out across this world, the people that I talk to on here. So really, some things I can't do that I would do somebody that's in my city. But there are things that I can do that can reach where you're at. And one of them is what I'm talking about today. Today is National Compliment Day. I can find something good about you. And you can find something good about anybody if you tried hard enough. So be alert to give service. How can I help you? That's the mindset. That's the good customer service that I was talking about that used to be true of the stores that you went to back in the day that's pretty much no longer true. That was the mindset of the people that work there, is how can I help you? And then number 10, Danielle talked about being humble, humility. And it talks about adding 3 things to all of this. Oh yeah, go Broncos. Hey, Jeff, you want to take a picture of that? That wasn't too complimentary. Let me get back to complimenting. Add to this a good sense of humor, a big dose of patience. How many of you know that when dealing with people, it requires a lot of patience? Boo. Hey, Boo wasn't very complimentary either. But a big dose of patience. We need to be patient with each other. I need to be patient with you. You need to be patient with me, because we're not always going to say perfect things. We're not always going to do perfect things. We should strive to say and do perfect things, but sometimes we mess up. So we need to be patient with each other. We need to be forgiving of one another, you know, and God is patient with you. I promise you that. God is patient with me. The Bible talks about that, how long-suffering he is toward us. He's very patient with us. So we ought to be patient with one another. And then last is a dose of humility. We want to be humble. See, this life ain't about you. This life ain't about me. Really, this life is about God. And one of the greatest acronyms I ever read was JOY. Jesus, others, yourself. JOY. Put Jesus first, others second, yourself third. And that's a key to having a joyous attitude. In other words, humility. If you put God first, people second, and you third, that's humbleness. And Adventure America just went live, so I'm going to shut it down. But I appreciate everybody that stopped by today. It means a lot. I hope what I said today was encouraging to you, helpful to you, and I hope that you're warm wherever it is, wherever that you are. But most importantly, I pray for your heart. I pray for my heart that it'll be warm toward the things of God and warm toward one another. We can, just like you're gonna, you're cold where you're at, most of us. Not everybody's in the sunshine state like Daisy May. Not everybody's having 60-degree weather like me. But when it does get cold, like I said, it's going to get cold here tomorrow. We need to prepare, for that temperature and do things to make it warmer for us, for the homes, for the cars. We're doing things to make those things warmer. And most importantly, we need to do things to make ourselves warmer. And I'm talking about spiritually. So be warm toward God, be warm toward each other, and He'll bless you for it. But I appreciate everybody that stopped by. Uh, Hello to Veronica. I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate everybody that stopped by. My time is up. I thank you for yours. I want to remind everybody that I love everybody. I don't hate anybody, and it's all because of somebody who died for me. He died on the cross, Jesus, proving His love. And He definitely made the world a better place. He definitely warmed, just like the sun warms the earth. The S-U-N warms the earth. The S-O-N warmed the earth with His great love. And I'm appreciative of that. And I appreciate you stopping by here. And God bless you. I hope to see you again somewhere down the road. And I love you.